The Super Bowl is where legends are born and legacies are defined. And who's going to be born a legend in this year's Super Bowl? It's the biggest sporting event on the planet. And these are the greatest Super Bowl moments from every game of the millennium.
Coming, Mahomes, man wide open, touchdown Chiefs at Sky Moore. McCaffrey rolling and throwing, caught, touchdown.
Let's kick things off in the year 2000 when the Rams went up against the Titans in an epic battle. The Rams had a dangerous offense led by stars like Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, and Tony Holt. They were straight up stacked and their team was nicknamed the greatest show on turf. But the Titans were no slouches either. They finished the season with a 13-3 record and made an inspiring run all the way to the Super Bowl. And with 6 seconds remaining, the Titans needed 10 yards on the last play of the game to win the Lombardi. McNair threw the ball to Kevin Dyson crossing the field and he was taken down by Mike Jones just 1 yard short of the end zone. So next time you think you would like an extra couple inches, just be grateful that you're not Kevin Dyson. Because when he got tackled within a sniff of the goal line, it became one of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history.
It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot.
While the Rams dominated the field with their potent offensive attack, the next season, elite defense proved triumphant. In 2001, the Baltimore Ravens entered the Super Bowl with one of the greatest defenses that has ever existed, led by Ray Lewis. And they were all over the Giants like hyenas on hamburger meat right from the opening kick. But the craziest stretch of plays occurred in the third quarter. It began when Dwayne Starks of the Ravens picked off Kerry Collins and took the ball 49 yards back to the house for a touchdown, expanding the Ravens' lead to 17-0. Right when it seemed like all hope was lost, Ron Dixon returned the ensuing kickoff for the Giants for a 97-yard touchdown. The momentum didn't even last them for an entire play, because on the very next kickoff, Jermaine Lewis took it all the way for a touchdown for the Ravens. Just like that, the Giants' hopes were bursted like a balloon at a kid's birthday party. It was one of the most exhilarating sequences of events ever seen in football, and Baltimore ended up winning the title by a score of 34-7. Then, the next season, the controversial Tuck Rule penalty call paved the way for the start of a dynasty. In 2002, a young quarterback named Tom Brady led the New England Patriots to his first ever Super Bowl, and he went up against Kurt Warner's dominant Rams offense. The Pats built up a 2-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter before the Rams came storming back. They tied the game at 17 but gave the ball back to the Pats with just enough time for an epic drive. Brady nickel and dimed the Patriots down the field before setting up Adam Vinatieri with a game-winning field goal attempt in the final moments from 48 yards out. Vinatieri drilled the field goal and a new legend was born in New England. New England proved to be clutch when it mattered most. If you want to be as clutch as Brady and the Pats, then like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot more than you think, so go ahead, because we need you as badly as the Bucs needed a new coach. The 2003 Super Bowl was nicknamed the Gruden Bowl because John Gruden departed as the Raiders head coach and led the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl in his first year there to play against his former team. Unfortunately for the Raiders, their starting quarterback Rich Gannon forgot to bring his brain to the game and coughed up 5 interceptions to the Bucs, 3 of which were returned for touchdowns. The dagger came with just over 1 minute remaining when Bucs safety Derek Brooks caught his second interception of the game and brought it all the way back for a touchdown to put the game on ice.
And this is going to write a finish. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season.
But Tampa didn't make it back the next season, because a young quarterback along with a mastermind head coach were surging in the Northeast. In 2004, Tom Brady returned to the Super Bowl for the second time in his career, where he would go up against the Carolina Panthers in an absolute barn burner. Fans were treated with Justin Timberlake ripping off Janet Jackson's bra to expose her left bazooka on national television. Thanks, JT! But the encore was even crazier. The fourth quarter of the contest was one for the ages. The Carolina Panthers made some huge plays in the final minutes, including an 87-yard touchdown pass from Jake Delhomme to Muhsin Muhammad, as well as a Ricky Pearl touchdown with less than 2 minutes remaining to tie the game. Unfortunately, the moment was a little too hot for Panthers kicker John Kelce to handle. He hooked the ensuing kickoff out of bounds, giving the most dangerous quarterback on the planet excellent field position to orchestrate a game-winning drive. And the game was finalized by the trusty leg of Adam Vinatieri, who kicked through his second Super Bowl winning field goal on the last play of the game, this time from 41 yards out. But Brady wasn't close to done. In 2005, Tom Brady returned to the Super Bowl once again, this time to match up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The game was a nail-biter from front to back. Pats receiver Deion Branch won the Super Bowl MVP award by catching 11 balls for 133 yards. His biggest catch of the game came in the third quarter when he snagged an interception right out of Shannon Brown's hands for a third down in what could have shifted the tides of the affair. In the fourth quarter, Donovan McNabb couldn't seem to get plays off at the line fast enough with the clock ticking down. We don't know if he was choking on a hairball or if he was just gassed, but there are some rumors that he was barfing like a velociraptor in the huddle during the most critical drive of the game. When it was all said and done, the Patriots walked away with a 24-21 victory, marking their third Lombardi trophy in a 4-year span. The AFC continued to dominate, but it wasn't just the Pats. Some other powerhouses were proving their worth as well, such as the Pittsburgh Steelers. In 2006, a young Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers battled the Seattle Seahawks led by veteran quarterback Matt Hasselbeck. The Steelers grinded their way through 3 quarters with a world-class defense and 2-star running backs in the form of Jerome the Bus Bettis and Fast Willie Parker. But in the fourth quarter, they broke the game open with one of the nastiest trick plays in Super Bowl history. See, the Steelers had a secret weapon in their arsenal, Antoine Randall El, a wide receiver who previously starred as a quarterback in college. And he made the biggest play of his NFL career when he took a double reverse and then launched a 43-yard dart into the end zone to find Hines Ward for a touchdown. From there, the defense held tight and the Steelers captured the Super Bowl by a score of 21-10.
Randall El, he can throw. He was a quarterback in college, and he's thrown a touchdown to Hines Ward.
During this era, Tom Brady gets a lot of recognition for his dominance, but the Colts had a legend of their own who was equally, or dare I say even more lethal at leading an offensive attack. And that man's name was Peyton Manning. In 2007, Peyton Manning made it to the Super Bowl for the first time in his career, where he matched up against a stout Bears defense led by Brian Urlacher. And the game started out disastrously for the boys in blue. Rookie sensation Devin Hester took the game's opening kickoff back for a touchdown to give the Bears the early lead. But Manning led the Colts back before the end of the half. The biggest play of the game came at the beginning of the fourth quarter when Kelvin Hayden picked off Rex Grossman and took the ball all the way back for a 56-yard touchdown. From there, the Colts managed the clock and walked away with a 29-17 win, and Peyton Manning won the only Super Bowl MVP award of his career. But Peyton Manning wasn't the only Manning leading a team, and the next season, his younger brother Eli Manning proved that he was pretty damn good as well. 2008 marks one of the most iconic Super Bowls ever played. The matchup was between the Patriots and the New York Giants. The Pats had a roster that was as stacked as it gets. They had a perfect 16-0 regular season and were 1 win away from the first perfect year since the NFL moved to a 16-game schedule. Randy Moss broke Jerry Rice's single-season touchdown record by scoring 23 in the reg. He was making defenders look silly, but the Giants weren't going to give up without a fight. In the fourth quarter, an unheard-of wide receiver named David Tyree scored a touchdown to give the Giants the lead. But Randy Moss responded with a Patriots touchdown with less than 3 minutes remaining. The score was 14-10, and the Giants had just enough time on the clock to assemble one of the most miraculous drives in NFL history. On 3rd and 5, Eli Manning, a quarterback who typically had the tackle-breaking capabilities of a teddy bear, dropped back and somehow managed to slip under 2 blitzers way behind the line of scrimmage. He quickly regained his balance and hucked a prayer down into the middle of the field. And who was there to make the play? None other than David Tyree. Tyree, with Rodney Harrison smothered over him like peanut butter, and somehow caught the ball and wedged it against his helmet so tightly that the Pats couldn't break it loose. The miracle famously was named the helmet catch and allowed the Giants to eventually win the game with a game-winning touchdown to Plaxico Burress. Pure magic. The Giants proved that miracles really do happen, and the Steelers followed that up by putting together a pretty miraculous performance of their own. The Super Bowl in 2009 was between 2 former Lombardi-winning quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers versus Kurt Warner and the Arizona Cardinals. And the last play of the second half was one of the biggest plays in Super Bowl history because it completely shifted the momentum. With the Steelers leading by 3 and the Cards charging downfield, James Harrison snagged an interception and took it 100 yards all the way back to the house as time expired in the first half. The play totally swung the game's momentum, especially because the Steelers were to start the second half with possession. But the Cards weren't done. Larry Fitzgerald scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to give Arizona the lead before Ben Roethlisberger got the ball back with one last chance. And he made the most of it. The drive concluded with 35 seconds remaining in the game when Roethlisberger found Santonio Holmes in the back of the end zone for a ballerina-like toe-tapping catch to win the game. Santonio Holmes' catch was a thing of legends. But you can be a legend too if you liked the video. And speaking of legends, the 2010 Super Bowl had legends at the helm for both squads. Peyton Manning's Colts were going up against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. The Saints were fueled with heavy hearts after Hurricane Katrina devastated them only a few years earlier. But they were rebuilt and as strong as ever. The Colts took a 10-6 lead into halftime, and the Saints knew they needed to do something bold to get momentum back in their favor. So Sean Payton grabbed his nuts and made the gutsiest play call we've ever seen to start the second half. Ambush! The Saints attempted an onside kick to begin the second half and managed to gain possession of the football. From there, momentum was on their side and they eventually won the game by a score of 31-17. We've heard a whole lot about Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees, but we can't forget about another dangerous quarterback that was making a name for himself in Wisconsin, the one and only Aaron Rodgers. In 2011, two of the most storied franchises in NFL history matched up against each other when the Green Bay Packers went up against the Steelers. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers came out firing early with touchdown passes to Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings. The Steelers fought back, but Rodgers threw a second touchdown pass to Greg Jennings to start the fourth quarter, and the Packers never surrendered the lead. When it was all said and done, the Packers won the game by a score of 31-25, and Aaron Rodgers added a Super Bowl MVP award to his Hall of Fame resume. But enough about Rodgers. In 2012, Tom Brady once again led the Patriots back to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, he was again matched up against the kryptonite, the New York Giants. The Giants got hot at the end of the season and managed to sneak into the playoffs with a 9-7 record, but they were rolling downhill with steam. The Patriots once again managed to build up a lead, only for Eli Manning to gain possession deep in his own territory with enough time left on the clock to orchestrate another Lombardi-winning drive. And on the very first play of the possession, he unleashed a 38-yard dart down the sideline to a streaking Mario Manningham for an unbelievable 38-yard gain. From there, the Giants went on to score a game-winning touchdown with less than 1 minute left and fled the scene with a 21-17 win.
All the way down. And that appeared to be tipped, but it winds up in the arms of Nix, and Nix will get the first.
Then, the next season, the Super Bowl was a true family affair. In 2013, two brothers matched up against each other in the Super Bowl when Jim Harbaugh's 49ers went up against John Harbaugh's Baltimore Ravens. Ray Lewis made a triumphant return to action with a massive cast on his arm to play in one last game before he retired. And Randy Moss suited up in his last game as well for the 49ers to take one last shot at Super Bowl glory. But the heroes of the game turned out to be Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco, who put together one of the best playoff runs the NFL has ever seen, and Jacoby Jones, a lightning-fast returner and wideout who got volcanic hot in the playoffs playing for Baltimore. Jones scored on a 54-yard bomb from Flacco in the second quarter. Then, coming out of the halftime break, he set the building on fire with a 108-yard kick return touchdown, the longest in Super Bowl history. His play was so sensational that he very well could have caused a power outage that halted action for what seemed like an eternity. When power came back, the 49ers pushed for a comeback but fell short, and the Ravens came away with a 34-31 win.
Inside the 20, and a kickoff return, 109 yards and a touchdown.
San Francisco was hungry to get back to the dance, but a division rival built a team so powerful that not even the 49ers could keep them from glory. Peyton Manning missed a season due to injury, and the Colts finished as the worst team in the NFL. So they drafted Andrew Luck first overall and traded Peyton Manning to the Broncos, where he didn't just make a recovery to form, he shattered the NFL record books. In 2013, his second season with the Broncos, Manning posted the all-time greatest passing season in NFL history and led his team to the 2014 Super Bowl, where he matched up against the Seattle Seahawks and their Legion of Boom defense. Unfortunately for Manning and the Broncos, the game wasn't even close. The first play from scrimmage was a snap that went over Peyton Manning's head that rolled back into the end zone, where Noshawn Moreno was tackled for a safety, and it was all downhill from there. The second half began with Percy Harvin returning the opening kickoff for an 87-yard touchdown. The Seahawks dominated in every facet of the game, offense, defense, and special teams, resulting in a 43-8 blowout, the biggest Super Bowl slaughtering in recent memory. And Seattle carried that momentum into the following season. In 2015, the Seahawks made a return to the Super Bowl where they faced off against, you guessed it, the New England Patriots. The game was a back-and-forth battle between two NFL powerhouses. The Pats overcame a 10-point deficit to take a small lead in the fourth quarter, but back came the Seahawks. Russell Wilson charged his team all the way down the field and set his team up with a 1st and goal on the 1-yard line with 20 seconds remaining. Every fan and their dog expected the Seahawks to hand the ball off to their beastly running back Marshawn Lynch, who could have surely forced his way into the end zone. But instead, the Seahawks made one of the most scrutinized play calls in NFL history. They opted to pass the ball on 1st down and were forced to pay the price. Undrafted rookie Malcolm Butler undercut Russell Wilson's pass and intercepted it on 1st down to seal a 28-24 win for the Patriots.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
The heartbreak of Butler's interception proved to be so devastating that the Seahawks never fully recovered, paving the way for a man they called Superman. And we're not talking about Clark Kent. Super Bowl 50 in 2016 marked a matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers were led by Cam Newton, who tore the league apart like a bag of chips on his way to an MVP and a Super Bowl appearance. Meanwhile, the Broncos quarterback was Peyton Manning, but to say he was on his last legs would be an understatement. Manning's career fell off a cliff during the 2015 season, and at this point his passes looked more like floating cream puffs than the spiraling beauties we were used to watching him throw. But he still had the savvy to manage the game and also had the league's most relentless defense leading the team. Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware led the way from the edges, sacking Newton 7 times in the contest. The biggest one came late in the 4th quarter when Newton had a chance to cement his legacy with a touchdown drive. But when he got strip-sacked by Von Miller, he hesitated before pouncing on the loose ball, and the Broncos' defense recovered. A decision that you can bet Newton regretted more than a drunk one-night stand after watching the game tape. And the Broncos walked off with a 24-10 victory, allowing Peyton Manning to historically walk off into the sunset with his 2nd Lombardi trophy in his last ever game. Manning became the oldest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, but he didn't hold that title for very long at all. In 2017, the Patriots returned to the Super Bowl again, this time to play the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons were led by quarterback Matt Ryan, who was having a career year and won the only MVP award of his career. And things were looking good for the Falcons early. Thanks to their potent offense and a fierce pass rush, they took a commanding 28-3 lead in the 3rd quarter. To some, the game seemed like it was all but over. But if we learned anything during our lives, it's to never count out the Patriots. Tom Brady came to life like a flame on a birthday candle. He started driving the ball down the field with authority en route to the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. The most wild play of the game was a 23-yard pass to Julian Edelman, where he seemingly defied the laws of gravity to catch the ball in triple coverage. From there, the Pats' momentum wasn't going to be halted. They tied the game and then scored a Lombardi-winning touchdown on the opening drive of overtime.
Oh, that's a catch.
This Tom Brady guy wasn't that bad, am I right? And he was far from finished. In 2018, the New England Patriots again made it to the Super Bowl, where they played against the Philadelphia Eagles, seeking revenge from their 2015 contest. This time, the Eagles were led by Nick Foles at the helm, who took over the position partway through the season when Carson Wentz went down with an injury. And these Eagles knew that they had to do something special to beat the greatest dynasty that ever existed. And that something special came from the 1-yard line right near the end of the first half. The Eagles lined up in the Wildcat, where Corey Clement pitched the ball to Trey Burton, who found Nick Foles all alone in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. The play, remembered as the Philly Special, as well as a 4th quarter touchdown pass to Zach Ertz, highlighted the Eagles' first ever Super Bowl championship by a score of 41-33.
And it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
A loss would take some teams some time to recover from, but not the Pats. The Patriots didn't wait long before returning to the Super Bowl for their 9th time of the millennium in 2019. This time they played the Los Angeles Rams, who made it back to the big game for the first time since losing to the Pats in 2002. But unlike the Eagles, they didn't get the vengeance they were seeking. The game was a low-scoring affair. Neither team scored a touchdown until the 4th quarter when Sony Michel punched one in from 2 yards out for the Pats. And the Patriots ended up winning their 6th Super Bowl by a final score of 13-3. Meanwhile, a young quarterback started dominating in a fashion that no one had ever seen before. By the Super Bowl in 2020, a new legend was rising in the ranks in the form of Patrick Mahomes. He led his high-octane Chiefs all the way to the championship game where they matched up against the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers built up a 10-point lead going into the 4th, but back came the Chiefs. Mahomes threw a touchdown pass to Travis Kelce before getting forced into a critical 3rd and 15 with about 7 minutes remaining. Mahomes called Jet Chip Wasp, a play that resulted in a 44-yard completion to Tyreek Hill. He capped off the drive with a touchdown and added one more for good measure as the Chiefs won the game by a final score of 31-20. Right when people started to think that maybe there was a changing of the guard, Tom Brady stepped up and said, "Hold my beer." In 2020, the great Tom Brady made a decision that rocked the football world. He was already widely regarded as the best quarterback in history, but that wasn't enough for him. He wanted to prove that he could win one without Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. So he signed a contract to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And guess what? He led his team all the way to the Super Bowl for their first time since 2003. Not only that, but he brought his favorite target, Rob Gronkowski, out of retirement to join him in Tampa. In the Super Bowl, the Bucs matched up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It was a legendary matchup between the greatest player in football history and the man striving to take the title away from him. But it was the veteran legend who proved supreme. Tom Brady threw 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Gronk and 1 to Antonio Brown en route to a 31-9 blowout over the Chiefs. In doing so, Brady broke his own record to become the oldest player to ever win a Super Bowl at age 43. And Tampa became the first team to ever win a Super Bowl on their home turf. But another team managed to do the same the very next year. In 2022, the Rams traded for veteran quarterback Matthew Stafford to try to take their team over the top. And in his first season with the Rams, he led them all the way to the Super Bowl, which was played at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, the Rams' home stadium. There, he matched up against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, who defeated the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. But the Rams' balanced attack proved too powerful for the Bengals to beat. Cooper Kupp scored 2 touchdowns in the game, the second of which was the game winner, which he caught on a goal line play with just over 1 minute remaining in the contest. The game finished 23-20 in favor of the Rams. Missing the Super Bowl in 2022 must have really ticked off Patrick Mahomes, because he took his game to a whole new level in 2022. He broke the all-time record for most total yards, passing and throwing combined for a quarterback, earning him the league's MVP award. And he led the Chiefs back to the Super Bowl in 2023, but suffered an ankle injury in the AFC title game on his way there. His availability for the game grabbed most of the headlines leading up to the big game. He was deemed healthy enough to start for his team when they played against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles secured a 10-point lead at halftime, but Mahomes and the Chiefs came surging back in the second half of action. The most monumental play of the game came on the final drive when Mahomes busted off a 26-yard run on his bum ankle to get the Chiefs into field goal position. From there, the Chiefs managed the clock before Harrison Butker kicked a game-winning field goal to give Kansas a 38-35 win. Patrick Mahomes was named Super Bowl MVP, becoming the first player to win the regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same season. There you have it, folks. Those were the greatest moments from every Super Bowl since the year 2000. If you liked this video, please let us know by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel. Now that these two are battling it out for the Super Bowl, take a look at the videos I posted on them. And if you're still here, let me know who you think is winning the Super Bowl tomorrow. No cheating, only if you was here early. Thanks for watching.